Hello everyone, welcome to Fibro Warrior, my new normal. I'm MJ Aragon and I'm here today with my podcast producers Jojo Merricks and Tony Jeffries.
Hello, hello.
Christy Ortiz is my co-host. She's unfortunately out sick still, so we're going to have to move on without her.
We're wishing her the best.
Yeah, she's got some migraines and stuff going on. She has fibro and lupus, so she's got, other things piled on, which is common for fibromyalgia to have something else connected to it.
Right.
But yeah, so hopefully she'll get enough rest and maybe next week. So anyway, I wanted to touch a little bit on the first podcast. So when you listen to the first podcast, hopefully you have before you heard this one, you'll notice that I did not edit any of my mistakes out. You'll notice my stuttering and whatnot. And I did that for a reason. I wanted to keep it real. I wanted you to see how hard it is to have this illness and the daily struggles that we go through trying to just have a normal conversation. So when we do finally post the podcast for last week, I will have the corrections and things that I said incorrectly and mistakes that I was able to remember to correct. I'll post it with the podcast so that you can just look over it. But anyway, the reason that I'm not editing out because, it's important that you know that I'm not trying to make it seem like I'm doing better than I am. I want you to realize that, this is me and I'm struggling. Today, for example, is a really bad day. I'm not feeling too good. I'm in a lot of pain, actually. You may hear it in my voice a little bit. But anyway, so this is what it's about. It's about showing the real me. And so that way, that, you have someone that is being honest with you and you can talk to. And hopefully, we'll be able to keep in contact. And once, hopefully I get more people listening, I'll have someone help me answer questions. But for now, you'll have me all to yourself. So if you have any questions, feel free to comment below when I do post the podcast. So a couple days ago, I got a phone call from my doctor at 7:30 at night. And as you all probably know, getting a phone call at that hour is never good news. So he called and I already have anxiety. So after dealing with so many doctors and getting so many bad phone calls and always something negative, I stopped answering my phone. So if someone calls me and I do not recognize the phone number, I will not answer. And I probably have not checked my messages in a year and a half, not exaggerating. I don't even think my mailbox is set up any longer. That's how bad it is for me. So I got a phone call, didn't recognize it, let it go to voicemail, or let it go. And a few minutes later, my boyfriend, fiance Bill, he calls me and says, "Babe, did you get a phone call recently?" I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't know who it was." He goes, "It was your doctor." Of course, that instantly made me tense. I'm like, "Oh, great." I knew I had taken blood tests, and so I knew I was expecting this outcome, but hearing that that you really have it is a little bit different than thinking that you do. So he told me a few things. He wasn't really sure. He was at work when he got the message when the doctor talked to him. So he didn't really grasp everything the doctor had said to him. So I called back. It took me a little bit to get through to him because he was at an urgent care at the time. And it turns out that my suspicions of having rheumatoid arthritis have come to fruition. I always knew I probably had it. I had all the symptoms, and because I'm an avid researcher on my illness and things that I'm feeling, I was pretty certain that I had it. So now I do. The only problem that I foresee is because I had tuberculosis as a child, the medications that I've seen advertised for rheumatoid arthritis, like Humira, I think is one of them, you cannot take it, I believe, if you've had TB. So the fortunate thing is I'm getting by right now. I'm doing okay. I don't think I need to take the medication. I didn't do as much research on this as I have for fibromyalgia, so I do have some research ahead of me to look into that further. But as many of you know, you probably also have lupus along with fibro or rheumatoid arthritis, anxiety, migraines, tinnitus, vertigo, all sorts of things that come with this illness. And so I know that you feel my pain right now. But like I said, this wasn't completely unexpected, so it didn't affect me as badly as I had when I was first getting the news of all these things that are wrong with me one after another. I knew that I had osteoarthritis because my neck is in really bad shape. 5 years ago, my doctor described it as looking like a 65-year-old's neck. That's how bad it was. And he asked me if I had been in a bad accident, which I had not. I had been thrown off my horse once when I was in my 20s, and a small car accident, but nothing major. So yeah, this is definitely hereditary. All of my family members pretty much have back issues. A couple of my aunts have fibro, a few had RA. So, I kind of knew that this was inevitable. But then again, like I said, you can think, that you might have something, but actually hearing it. So I'm not going to lie, I cried for maybe a minute, not as long as I could have if this was brand new news to me. But, I was a little upset because I was like hoping that maybe I'd get lucky and, I could just live with this, just fibro and all the other things I already have. Adding one more thing to the list is not something I was looking forward to. So anyway, I wanted to share with you a Facebook post that I had posted a few weeks ago, which is kind of why I began this. A friend of mine who will be a guest with us next week, her name is Diane Schwitwala. I may be saying it wrong, but that's as close as I think I'm going to get. She'll be joining us next week. She has fibro and rheumatoid. She's seronegative, but that doesn't mean you don't have it, which is what I was. And now that I'm positive, for sure. So she's going to join us next week. But she and I, we had a long talk, and we have a lot of things in common. So she kind of sparked this Facebook post. Now, I've written several, and each one that I've written has been a little more detail. And I found that although I was skeptical at first to share this stuff with people on Facebook because I was worried about, backlash and people maybe not liking it or thinking it was negative and maybe not following me at all because of it, I just did a little at a time. But I noticed that with each one, I actually got private messages and people thanking me for sharing my story, and that, now they know what they have and they have a diagnosis because of my story. And excuse me for a second. And so when I wrote this last one, it was a little bit lengthy, and I was certain that people would get to the halfway mark, if less than that, and lose interest. But a lot of people read it, and I had a lot of great feedback and people sending me messages and thanking me. And that's pretty much what sparked this. That's what made me decide, what, maybe I have a voice that can reach out to those of us who are dealing with this quietly and to ourselves, like I did most of my life. Now you know that you are not alone, and I'm here for you whenever I can be, and maybe to help those around us understand a little bit more about what we deal with day to day, and that it's not just you. There's many of us out there. So, sorry, a little anxiety today. Today was a rough day. I'm going to read the post to you. Sorry if I'm a little shaky, but here it goes. It started out like this. I'm having a great day today. You might ask yourself, why should we care? Or is she bragging? Oh, quite the contrary. I'm not on any great adventure, nor am I accomplishing some great feat. What I am doing, though, is feeling good about myself, which I do not do often enough. When you're dealing with pain, lethargy, depression, and cognitive issues on the daily, life just becomes one big blur, with each day just bleeding into the next. When I'm feeling up to the task, I try to do more than I should, and then inevitably I pay for it over the following 3 days or so. It's a vicious cycle that I'm all too familiar with. Today, though, I'm not going to overdo it. Instead, I'm going to take a moment to share a little about my journey with an invisible illness. This may become lengthy, so if you're not up for that, you should exit now. You've been warned. Very frequently, when you see me, I have a smile on my face, hiding whatever I may actually be feeling on the inside, while trying to enjoy myself, engage in conversation, and make that particular day and night have some meaning, which is not a small task for me. What most people do with ease, I now struggle with more often than not. I'm lucky if I can remember what was said to me a second ago, or if I can get the words out of my mouth that seem to constantly get stuck in limbo amongst the clutter that is now my mind, or what's left of it anyhow. And to think I was once fairly smart. I was actually made aware of this fact in 5th grade when my teacher apologized to me. He had actively put me down and at the bottom of the reading level to make his point. I quickly passed all 4 levels with ease, as well as completing 6 books ahead of the class. When we received our SAT scores, I believe that's what they were, I ranked 4th year college level in reading and vocabulary. I was proud, and to my surprise, my teacher pulled me aside and apologized profusely for his injustices. I'll never truly know why he treated me so poorly at first. Was it seeing a white girl with a Hispanic last name that may have rubbed him, my white teacher, the wrong way? Just a theory, of course, but I digress. My point is that now I feel like that fifth grader before she discovered how smart she really was and always questioning her self-worth. I literally avoid conversations when I'm struggling with cognitive issues. So if I've ever seemed distant, this is possibly why. It's difficult recalling how I was once a social butterfly during my 20s and 30s, putting myself out there and trying to stay in the moment. I miss that lighter, sarcastic, funny girl. Where has she gone? I often wonder. I was successful for the most part, staying positive, allowing myself to enjoy the sunlight and avoiding the darkness at all costs. A cloud that has relentlessly followed me throughout life and has given me more than my share of angst. But I was strong enough to push through it, not very gracefully, and at times always with a few scars to remind me of where I've been. Still, I pushed myself to be happy, productive, and to be a good person, mom, sister, daughter, friend, as best I knew how. On the outside, looking in, you may have interpreted it differently. And for that, I understand and apologize. Things haven't exactly come easily for me. I've worked hard and pushed myself to absolute limit. Always an uphill battle for me. Since third grade on, I was constantly involved in some sort of sports or outside activity. Unlike anyone else in my family, I'm a bit of a tomboy. I developed early though, so that wasn't ideal for someone who has a lot of physical activities. The pain began somewhere between the ages of 12 and 14 years old, but still I stayed active. Initially, I thought it was growing pains. But my description varied greatly from my friends' accounts. I didn't have a close relationship growing up with my mom and pop. He's my step, but still my pop. So I kept it to myself, often thinking they'll assume I'm trying to get out of my multitude of chores anyway. As a kid, what did I know? Now in hindsight, I realize I should have spoken with them regardless of the outcome. But then, much like now, I've kept my pain to myself, not wanting to burden others. Continuing on as a young adult, out on my own, I would eat healthy, I worked out, I didn't smoke or try to do drugs, and if I drank, I had water in between drinks to stay hydrated, rarely having more than 2. I've lived my life pretty healthily, but my body had other ideas in store for me, and no amount of determination on my part was going to deter my illness from wreaking havoc on my life. So as you now know, depression and fibro took a hold of me at a very early age. So my teen years are not looked upon with much fondness, of course, nor my childhood for that matter. I've always felt a bit of a disconnect from my life, my family, and my friends, as if I don't belong here, and I always assumed I wouldn't be long in this life. It's easy to go dark when you've lived your life in pain, not wanting to share that darkness, knowing it will scare most people away, and inevitably cause them to either feel sorry for you or say that you're weak and needy, amongst the host of other negative things I've heard and endured over the years, none of which you'd hope for, especially when so many of us are uninformed about illnesses like mine. I've become accustomed to these types of reactions, and I want you to know that I'm quite the opposite of weak, because it takes a certain kind of personal strength to acknowledge your obstacles and overcome them over and over again. The cycle will never end for me, and my loved ones will have suffered the most because of this. Hence why I've chosen to keep them at arm's length for the majority of my life. They're having to endure my ups and downs couldn't have been easy either, not truly knowing what I've been living with internally and visibly. It took years to begin to share the struggle without worrying what others may think. This is me. I have honestly done the absolute best I could, although it didn't always appear that way, I'm aware. Through it all, I've learned one very important thing: to love myself first, enough so as not to be ashamed of what I've endured throughout my life. Fibromyalgia, arthritis, depression, ADHD. It took almost a lifetime to get my diagnosis for fibro, which led me to feel embarrassed or like a hypochondriac, as each doctor, and there were many, would tell me they couldn't see or find anything wrong with me. I even gave up for a while, 6 or 7 years, and only when I lost the ability to hold down my job because I was chronically sick with bronchitis for almost an entire year did I go vigorously in search for an answer. Finally, the relief and disappointment I felt at the moment of my diagnosis. You have fibromyalgia. There is no cure, and this will be a lifelong illness. As I watched those words fall from my doctor's lips, my heart felt light. Then it instantly took on the weight of a boulder. The words "no cure" kept playing repeatedly in my head. My depression quickly overcame me. The next year, my life suddenly vanished before my eyes. oh, how sorry I am for checking out, in a sense, for letting it take me away from those I love. I didn't want to do anything anymore. I kept getting bad news after bad from each doctor I saw, or 11 or 12 in that one year. It was sucking the life out of me. And if it wasn't for my love for Bill, my 2 sons, and my family, I may have checked out completely. Who knows? Fast forward 6 years later. I've come a long way from then, researching and learning how to live in my new normal. So today is a great day for me because I can appreciate the sunlight and my clouds, however briefly, have dissipated. I may not be able to show it always, but my loved ones mean the world to me. Thank you all for being in my life and showing me love through it all. Love, MJ. Apologies for its length, but I'm hoping that the story will help someone out there in need and know that I'm here for you. So that is a post that I wrote on Facebook, which has led me to this path now, and the wonderful people that are with me and my crew, my producers, and hopefully you'll meet my co-host soon, and the gentleman, Mike Perez, who's going to be taking our photos, and his business partner will be writing an article for us. And hopefully at some point I will get a crowdfunding together so that we can continue to do this and share this important message that you are not alone. That is the most important thing I want to stress. I may have mentioned it before, I don't recall. I have a guest coming up, Diane. Her and I, we have an improv class together. Now, I'm an actress, but for a very short time. It's something I kind of stumbled upon, and it's really helped me a lot. It's kept me out of my head a little bit, so when I'm having bad times, when I have class on my Mondays, I feel better because I get to pretend I'm someone else and put the pain and everything aside. The only thing that really gets in the way of that is if I have a migraine. A migraine kind of takes it all out of me. But anything else I can pretty much get past and make the best of the day. But she and I have gotten to know each other pretty well, and she's gone through pretty much what I've gone through and some other things, and we've kind of bonded pretty recently over that. It's unfortunate that we both have these illnesses, but it's nice to know that we have each other and we can talk to each other about anything and not have to worry about the normal thing where people look at you and what's the word I'm looking for?
Pity.
Judge you, pity
Right,
you,
judge
you know, thank you. So it's nice to have that. And so I want to thank you gentlemen from the bottom of my heart. Like, this means the world to me. I don't think you know how important this is to me and how much I appreciate you doing this for me. It's really, really important. Anyway, did you have, I know we talked a little bit and did some questions. Was there something else that you had on your mind that you wanted to ask me?
I just wanted to ask you, what was your day like today? But we kind of went through that.
Yeah, it was a day. I usually get up and my routine is I have to have a coffee or a tea usually to, like, get me in, because when I get out of bed I've got nothing going on, and no matter if I had a little bit of sleep or a lot of sleep or broken up sleep, it doesn't matter. I seem to always be tired. It doesn't matter. And so unless I just want to be lazy and not do anything, I usually get up and make myself a coffee or tea. Now you're gonna laugh because I don't know how many other people do this, but I literally have a Keurig machine in my bedroom.
That's kind of brilliant.
Because if I didn't do that, I probably wouldn't get anything done ever, because the kitchen's it's a long ways away when you don't feel good, you know. So yeah, I literally get up and make my coffee, and I'll usually have like cream of wheat or something so that my pills don't make me ill, like make my stomach upset.
My grandma used to make us cream of wheat all the time when I was growing up. I used to love
My kids love it too when they were growing up.
I've never had it.
You've never had cream of wheat?
No.
To my knowledge, I've never had cream of wheat.
It's really good.
It's good, dude.
It's like a finer ground, kind of like grits, but wheat,
it's made
but
sweet.
wheat instead of corn.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And it's got, what's his name? What's the guy on the front? It's got the black dude with the hat. And he's all happy, and he's got the
You
cream
don't
of
want
wheat.
to eat it. You don't want to eat it.
I can't remember. I want to say Uncle Ben, but that's rice.
That's rice, yeah.
But I can't.
that
This
the
guy
same
had a
guy?
bit. This guy had a
I
bit
just know it's
too.
like a chef hat. That he's
Yeah,
wearing.
Yeah, he's
I know
got a
you're
chef
talking
hat.
about.
And
I
he's
thought it
all
was the
happy
same
with
guy.
the cream of wheat.
No.
I can't remember, but
It's really good. I love it. And I mix too. I get the banana, which not every place carries, but I get one that's banana and one that's like the maple syrup, brown sugar one.
Yeah.
And I mix them together. Oh, it's so good.
My,
Bill laughs at me. He's like, it smells so sweet. I'm like, it's so good though.
malto meal too.
Yes, I
like
used
that's
to
what I
love
make
that.
for my daughters now, and they always get the maple and brown sugar
I
one
used
in it.
I used to eat a lot of oatmeal as well, like the flavored oatmeals. But I was eating when I was still working in the casino on my breaks. I would have a banana and oatmeal. That was my normal thing. because I think I'm eating healthy. I was eating healthy. After I don't know, I think it was a few months where I was just constantly sick and tired all the time. And I was like, what is going on? I was gaining weight, but I'm eating healthy. I wasn't changing my diet. Nothing had changed. So everything was status quo. So I couldn't understand, like, why am I gaining weight? What's going on? It turned out that I started to become allergic to things that I ate often.
Oh, I remember you
So
were telling us.
I'm allergic to literally, so far, I've counted 32 different things. Some things offhand, like peanuts, for example, I'm definitely allergic to peanuts. I carry EpiPen around for that one. But I'm allergic to walnuts and cashews and things like that. I'm allergic to eggs, the whites more so than the yolk. Milk, I have an intolerance for milk. There's a difference.
Do you drink almond milk?
Yes, I do actually. That helps with the, what do you call it? Reflux.
Do you ever eat cereal?
I used to eat cereal a lot. Actually, Bill and I are really bad. We'd eat it late at night.
Captain Crunch?
Yeah, all of that.
With almond milk?
But I have to let it. But I have to get the unsweetened for cereal like that because
The
if you get
unsweetened almond milk?
because if
Yeah.
you get the sweet almond milk on top
It's
of
too
sweet
much.
cereal,
It's too much.
Oh, Captain Crunch. Oh,
that's
my goodness.
overkill. I can't do the sweet on top of the sweet.
Right,
That's
right,
too
yeah.
much.
I'm gonna start making my own though.
Your own almond milk?
Yeah.
How are you going to make your own almond milk?
I was YouTube, man. You know how I am. Bro.
Oh,
YouTube.
yeah.
You can actually
It doesn't
soak
seem
it.
easy.
No,
You
it's
gotta
really
crush
easy.
the
No, you
hell
just
out of
soak
You
Oh.
them.
just press it, right?
You soak
it
it in
and then
what?
press
You
it.
soak them in water for like 8 hours,
That's it?
and then you put them in a blender. That's it, and then
Really?
you strain it.
Oh wow, a lot easier than I thought.
Yeah.
That's
And like
impressive.
I was watching, they made maybe like a nice handful of almonds.
Uh-huh.
They made like almost a half a gallon almond milk.
Wow.
Just
I'm really
milk.
glad that I'm not allergic to almonds because
That would suck.
yeah,
I
I'm
was
Then you
Allergic.
couldn't have almond milk.
right. And although I'm allergic to cashews and walnuts, I have them every once in a while because they're not going to make me so ill that I could die, kind of situation like peanuts would.
Right.
But they do make me feel bad. And so this is what I discovered. The reason I was gaining weight is because I was eating all these things that I thought were healthy, quote unquote, and it turned out that I was allergic to them. So what happens is your histamines, I'm sorry, they make you retain water. So I was retaining water, and that's why I gained all that weight. So what happened was, as soon as I found out all the things I was allergic to, I literally cut them all out. I stopped eating everything I was allergic to that I was aware of at that point. And in a week and a half, I'm not kidding you, in a week and a half, I lost 20 pounds.
Seriously?
Just right around there, 21 pounds, yeah. And I called the doctor. I'm like, because I didn't know what happened. I was like, what just happened?
Right.
And they're like, it's your histamine. You're retaining water from all the things that you're eating. I was eating daily many, many things that I was allergic to.
Right.
Raspberries and just so many things. I'm allergic to celery and watermelon and cucumbers, ridiculous things that you would never think. But because I always eat those things thinking I'm eating healthy, I ate them. And what happens is it makes no sense, really. But because I ate them too often, my body started to have a reaction. Go figure.
I wanted you to speak, if you could, more on the improv class, because I mean that's you doing what you do, getting out there, doing something you love, and like I think that'll really motivate people to get out there because it's gotta help in some way, shape. Is it therapeutic?
It is, and I'll tell you what. I went with actually Bill. Bill had told me about it. We have a friend Rocky who
What up, Rocky?
who had mentioned it to us, and so Bill was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna go." I'm like, "You know what? I want to go. I want to check it out." And so the first day, I had planned not at all to get on stage. I just went to be supportive, just to check it out. And then the instructor, Michael Chain, he's like, "You want to try it?" And I was like, what the hell, not thinking anything of it. I'm like, "Oh, I'll try it. It's one and done. Have a little fun." And I fell in love that moment on. And then every week I've missed. We've been doing this for 2 years. Yeah, almost 2 years.
Whoa.
I remember you
Almost 2 years.
You still at Aces.
Yeah, we were
next door.
Aces, and
So
then
I
at
was-
3rd Street.
I was
I love
security
Aces.
up there at Aces.
Yeah.
So I'd see every time. Oh, that guy.
The Aces
That guy's
stage.
he was on Transformers.
Oh,
The
yes.
guy who did that, he did voices for like 2 of the Transformers.
Yes, he did.
Yeah,
Yep.
the guy
Yep.
who ran the class.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have a few people that are well known. I don't want to drop names right now. I'll talk about
Right.
them later, but who are well known and still the kindest, sweetest people. Like even though they've been on movies and they've gained some popularity, they are very humble and very sweet. And I love that we are all so very supportive. It's a very supportive group. And Mike was telling me, this is not a normal thing. Most people, there's a little bit of stress and people being jealous, and he goes, but this class, we're all very supportive, and I'm like the queen bee of support because I want to make everybody comfortable because I know what it's like to be somewhere new and feel like you're out of, a fish out of water. So I've always been the one of like, don't give up, try again, come back,
Right.
we're happy to see you. And I love it. I really do, because it's my one thing that I definitely get out of the house for every week, unless something really important comes up. And I've only missed like 2, maybe 3 classes, I think, total in the 2 years. And if it wasn't for this class, I will read a poem. I wrote a poem, actually. I had been really, really dark.
You're going to read it today?
No, I'll probably read it next week or something.
Right.
I mean, I could if you want me to. I don't know how much time we have.
I didn't know if it was on the paper.
Oh, it's in my phone. What kind of time do we have right now?
About 4 minutes.
4 minutes? Okay. I'm probably save it for another time. It's on. I have a video of it too. I had read it to the class because I had written it right before I started coming to improv. And it was funny how being in that class turned me around.
Right. Yeah, that's
well, not funny. Funny is not the word, but it was incredible.
Right.
Because I was really in a dark place, because I was feeling very unproductive. You know what I mean? I didn't feel good all the time, and I didn't feel like I was, worthy of anything, because I had to keep canceling on people invite me, and I just felt like I wasn't, part of life. I
Right.
feel like I was just like, I was stuck still in this, like, in time, and nothing was moving. So having this class really made a big difference for me.
Right. Yeah, I saw the picture you posted on Facebook like yesterday or the day before.
Yeah, that was old. Yeah, that was from
Right.
from a few months ago. Yeah, and like I said, I love everybody in the class. Like, really wonderful people.
It's one of those situations where you find yourself sitting there and you're like, how does this happen? Like, how do you? Because I started working another job about 6 months ago, and the group of people I work with, it's like, man, how does this? It feels like I've known these guys years. And everybody's so cool and supportive, and the one bad guy, and I'm not going to say bad guy, but the one guy who's the biggest problem is no longer there. And it's like the owner, I work at a wine. We make wine production.
Oh, that's
like,
awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's weird that I have this job now. But it's like they're getting the best product. Like, we're putting out some of the best stuff that they had. And it's like, dude, that's because this team is working together. And it's, you know what I mean? It makes it so much better when everybody is just supportive.
Isn't it amazing when you stumble upon something like that? You
Like
just
these
fall
dudes,
into this.
I feel
Yes.
like I've known these dudes for like 10 years.
Yeah.
And it's like it's been like 6 months.
Yeah.
It's crazy. I love when that happens.
And I'm happy for Bill, because he got the job at working at Jerome's, and everybody's there is very very family oriented. I met a big majority of the people there, very wonderful, and Bill's like, everybody loves you, MJ, and I'm like, it's nice, I liked everybody, and to hear him say that, like, it's not the most important thing, but it's nice to know that,
Nice to hear.
they felt the same about
Yeah.
me, that the feeling was mutual. Because,
Right.
a lot of them, I let people know I'm much more open now about having fibromyalgia, whereas before I'd be like, no, I'm fine, everything's, put the smile on. But
Right.
now I bring it up. More often than not, I bring it up because it's so important that other people know how prevalent this is, and it's not just here and there. You'd be surprised. I even wrote a post just a couple days ago, like, because people were reaching out to me, more people, and I'm like, it's surprising how many people, just in my circle. I have like 800 and something friends right now. In my circle of 800 and something friends, I'd say probably 20 something that I know have fibromyalgia.
Wow.
Since
Crazy.
you've been
Since you
talking
posted
about
Since
that.
I've been talking about it, I've had people reach out. Yeah.
That's awesome. I believe it's something much needed. Like, that's why I said it. Absolutely. But for you were thanking us earlier, and it's like, you know what? I'm glad to help. It's absolutely no
Yeah,
problem.
seriously.
I'm glad to be here. I'm going to do whatever I can. This is what I do. So
Well, when you meet people, and it seems like you guys are like me, when I meet people, I get a vibe from them. And I can tell when someone's, pardon my French, an ass, or when someone's good people. And I instantly liked you guys the moment I met you guys.
Right.
And so you two were the first people, you two and Mike and Christy were the first people that popped in my head that just, when I started thinking of this and just all started coming to me, and this plan just like set itself out in front of me so simply. It was incredible, because my mind is such a jumbled mess all the time, that when this just came to me and it just fell into place, I was like, this is meant to be. I need to do this.
Right.
And I thought of you guys and Christy and Mike, and all of you were more than happy to help. And that just, I was overjoyed. I really was. I really was overjoyed.
like I said, I'm glad to help. You know,
So,
I actually did want to have one question I wanted to ask
yes,
you. Though.
absolutely.
You were talking about how you've met so many friends. What's it like in regular life, when you meet somebody and you find out you both have fibromyalgia? Like, what is that kind of kinship
You
like?
almost automatically end up having like this kinship, because you have this understanding, because it's very difficult for other people to understand unless you're in the shoes of that person. I mean, you can be sympathetic
Right,
and have empathy, You know what I mean? But you don't truly know until you're in that person's shoes. And that's why another post I made recently about, you know, you need to treat people nicely. It doesn't cost you anything to treat people nicely because you don't know what they're going through, how much pain they're in and what they're dealing with, you know, so you can easily move this or that. And that person struggles to do that. You have to realize that there's a reason behind it. They're not just lazy. So
I always say you can save like multiple lives in a day and not even know. Simply by acknowledging somebody.
Yeah.
Like saying hi, smiling
Yes.
at somebody.
I make a
That
point.
might have changed that. They might have been about to go home and you like I'm done. But it's like, yo, that guy said hi for whatever reason.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna do this.
I make a point to do that when I go into grocery stores or Target or
Oh,
you know,
yeah,
place,
yeah,
and
you tell
I'll
us.
look at their, if they don't have a name tag, I'll ask them their
Right.
name. But I'm like, oh, hi, so-and-so. And 9 times out of 10, they'll get this big smile on their face. Or they're either, they'll be surprised I know their name and they'll realize. But most of the time, it makes them smile because I acknowledge them and then say, hey, you. So
It's like I'm human again.
Yes.
Like, oh, I'm no longer stuck in the matrix
and
in
it
this
costs
system. It's
you
like
nothing.
nothing.
And
Yeah,
it makes
exactly.
you feel good that you made them smile.
It does.
So anyway, our time is up. So thank you all so much for listening. And next week I will have Diane here, and I will probably read my poem that I was telling you about earlier. And hopefully Christy will be here. If not, you know, I wish her well. But I look forward to talking with you guys again. And please reach out to me. I'm here for you. Okay? Love you guys. Thank you.